The title says it all, people. So you want to learn music. Hi, I'm Larson Halleck, and in addition to being a martial artist, video maker, and general bon vivant, I've also been both a professional saxophone player and a music teacher. Some of you might be saying, but Larson, I don't really want to learn music. And to that, I say it would really behoove you to do so. Music, or dance, or any other sort of pastime that involves rhythm, is truly something that I feel any masculine man should do. Why, you might ask? Firstly, and most importantly, it nurtures your creative spark in a way that basically nothing in modern society will. I've always agreed with the good people at The Art of Manliness in that men need to create more and consume a lot less. And my tastes in creativity run to music and poetry, but you already know that. Take it from me, it just feels good to create something totally unique, even if it's not professional quality. And when you're building your masculine spirit, it is always good to balance out the brutality of physical toil with some intellectual efforts. Or you might say you could be a barbaric gentleman. And just think about what it does to your psychological health. Telling somebody, I write music, or I don't know, I paint, or I build furniture, is a lot less painful to your soul than telling them, I masturbate 5 times a day, or I watch crappy animes where little girls shit on things when somebody asks about your hobbies. And just think about how painful it would be for the woman in your life to tell her friends that her man is a fap-happy neat. Speaking of women, that leads to yet another reason you should totally get into playing music. Women. Women adore a guy who can play music, and I've been told as such several times. Now, as a musician myself, I hate guys that only learn how to play crappy 3-chord bullshit to pick up girls. I would never play some simplistic pop crap to drop panties to the floor. Just kidding, I totally have. Thirdly, I have found that developing a sense of rhythm and musicality has directly helped me in the terms of physical culture, like martial arts. I will do another video and probably article on this topic in and of itself, but in brief, let me just say that to fight properly, you're going to need some sense of beat and rhythm. To truly apply the moves I've taught you with precision and skill, you need to have a sense of rhythm to keep yourself from flailing your limbs aimlessly and without control, having one of your limbs sticking out too long and presenting an opportunity to get counterattacked, or to count time and footsteps to do some of the more advanced attacks like flying kicks. Or perhaps there was some other reason why several orders of warrior elite, like the Knights of Europe and the Samurai of Japan, had, in addition to their martial training, requirements to do art, music, dancing, poetry, or any other activity that is not generally associated with breaking faces, depending on which warrior culture specifically you're looking at. If that's not enough, Bruce Lee, in his Tao of Jeet Kune Do book, also wrote about the need to develop rhythm in fighting. He was, after all, a ballroom dance enthusiast when not practicing martial arts. So hopefully, all of this will have convinced you to get into music. The question now is, how do I start? As luck would have it, the way to start is identical no matter what instrument you pick. However, if you decide to learn how to sing, I can't help you there. The first thing you have to do is learn how to read music to some basic level. This is a music staff and notes. Each of these symbols refers to a specific tone that can be played on one instrument or another. This sample is based off of a piano, which is one of the most commonly played instruments due to its wide octave range. The musical staff goes from A to G, and then starts at A again, an octave higher. An octave is 8 notes. As you can see here, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then back to A. To vastly simplify rhythm, rhythm starts with whole notes, counted on 4 beats, and then can subdivide to dotted half notes, 3 beats, regular half notes, 2 beats, quarter notes, 1 beat, and eighth notes, half a beat. At least that's how it is in the standard time signatures of Western music, which is to say 4-4, 4 beats per measure, and the quarter note gets the beat, 3-4, 3 beats per measure, quarter note gets the beat, and etc. There are many kinds of time signatures, but the complicated should be avoided by the beginners and only tackled as your skill improves. Next, you have to learn how to play all the available notes your instrument can play. Don't be afraid to play off-key or with an incorrect fingering, embouchure, or etc. Just get that noise out first. Then, learn yourself a few scales. Scales being, in music theory, any set of musical notes arranged by their fundamental pitch. Most of the melody and harmony of any given song is built using the notes of one single scale. Whatever scale is chosen will affect, if not completely alter, the song. I can give you some examples. Do you want your song to sound happy or sad? There are scales for that. Do you want your song to take on an ethnic sound or sound like a type of musical genre, there's scales for all of those. Simply put, if you're not learning scales, you will not be a good musician. There are close to 100 different types of scale, but the beginner obviously does not need to learn all of those. I would recommend just learning the Ionian major scale to start, as practicing this scale for all tonic notes will quickly learn you proper fingering and note placement for whatever instrument you play, and mentally train you to remember the notes. It will also train you to read music, and besides, it's the basic scale of Western music. Ionian scales are part of the bigger category of what are known as diatonic scales, scales that go from tonic to tonic and have 5 whole tones and 2 semitones, making up 7 notes in total. Ionian scales are defined by the interval pattern, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. The easiest way to show this pattern is the C major scale above. As you can see, C to D is a whole step, meaning that in between C and D is another note that is skipped, C sharp, as is D and E. EF is a half step, meaning there is no note between E and F. F to G is a whole step, G to A is a whole step, A to B is a whole step, and B to C is a half step. Using this formula, you yourself can write any Ionian major scale, starting with any of the available tonic notes. Or you can just memorize scales from this book of compositional scales, written by yours truly. Once you've practiced your scales, you can start developing a musical repertoire. And this is the easiest thing of all. Sheet music abounds on the internet for free, for all styles and regions. Even if you want to write music, for some reason, that's not so hard. The first thing you'll have to do is learn a few more scales, naturally. The key to writing music, or any creative talent, is to learn the fundamental tools and then utilize them in your own creative vision. In the case of musical composition, those fundamentals are the scales and modes and the other basics of musical theory. Rhythm, time signatures, and so forth. There is no other way to do it than to sit down and experiment with it to create your own unique vision. This is, of course, the simplest of simplified explanations of musical theory. It is a vastly, vastly more complicated universe than I'm describing it here. Are you still confused? I admit it is a little bit difficult to teach music purely through narration. In the very near future, look out for a series of videos on music theory and practice. But for now, if you were on the fence, I hope this has persuaded you to at least give music a try. Chances are you might be thankful you did. I'm Larson Halleck. Keep on training. And now, a word from our sponsors. Hello, are you a fan of Larson Halleck and the Barbaric Gentleman? Of course you are, otherwise you wouldn't be watching. Would you like to help the channel grow? Would you like to help me out? If so, here's how you can. You can go to patreon.com/LarsonHalleck and join the ranks of these illustrious heroes. You can also go to www.paypal.me/LarsonHalleck to also donate some money. You can also buy my book. The Patreon, the PayPal, and the link to my book are all found in the video description. You can also follow me on Twitter or on Instagram. I no longer advertise my Gab because Gab sucks. Otherwise, enjoy, keep watching the videos, and spread the word.